Right. Students who are in the online, am I audible to you? Right. So let us move to the further last session. What we completed in the last class? Hmm? Constructors or constructions. Constructor or constructions. Okay, very good. Constructors. How many types of constructors? Bigger. Right. Two types. What are those? Default constructor, parameterized constructor. What is the use of constructor? To initialize the object. Can the constructor returns the value? No. What value it can return? None. Okay. Then what is the use of default constructor? No bar. Sai Kumar, no bit will return. Hmm? No boo. Hmm? No bala. Typo error. Typo. Type error. No. Typo error. If you ask like that, if you say like that, typo error. No boo. If you say like that, they will ask me, who is your faculty? And you will tell my name compulsory. You will tell my name compulsory and you will say the subject is the wrong answer. These are all your problems. Hmm? These are all called different type of problems. Hmm? So you will take blame. Huh? Okay. So very rare. Hmm. Okay, no issue. So now I will go to today's class. We'll go to one more topic. So next concept is hmm, go to oops. Under that index of oops, we are going to talk today about destructors. We will talk. Destructors in Python we will explain. Destructors in oops with a garbage collector I am going to explain. So let us start with destructor. So here destructors in oops I am going to talk. So here we are going to talk about the destructors in oops. Right. Sai Kumar. So these days nobody will take the blame. Okay. So this is a fact. This is a life fact. Everybody will feel that they are correct. If anything wrong, they will try to put on somebody's shoulder. They're natural. But so to the point back. What is the purpose of destructor? What is the garbage collector? I want to enter. So what is the garbage collector? A garbage collector is one of the inbuilt. Come on, what do you know about it? Inbuilt Python program. This is an inbuilt Python program present in where? Python software. Python software. What is the role of that? What is the role of that? What do you know about this garbage collector? It is one of the inbuilt Python program present into Python software. What is the purpose of it? To, to collect unused memory space, unused memory space for improving the performance of what? Hmm. Which applications? Not there. Python based applications. In the day one only, I said this type of answers. Python based applications. If we go to the beginning, 11 a.m., in the features of Python, in the simple property, I said default, I said garbage collector here. Garbage collector, which was already defined. A garbage collector is one of the Python background program, which is running along with the regular Python code, whose purpose is to collect unused memory space and improves the performance of Python based applications. Hence, garbage collector takes care about automatic memory management. This is about the garbage collector, which I said already in our previous class. Then today, how it is going to be related. Now I'm going to talk about it. Now I'm going to write it. How it can collect unused memory space how it can collect unused memory space. That is the task today. Every garbage collector, here I'm going to write a destructor here. Every garbage collector contains destructor, contains a destructor. Every garbage collector contains its own destructor. So destructor's facility is present in C++, Java, and then Python, and then .NET, and then .NET. In C++, destructor code you can write. In Python, you can write destructor code, but in Java, you cannot write destructor code. You cannot write .NET destructor code. You cannot write, because in real time also we don't write the destructor code in the industry. So even in Python also we never bother about the garbage collector, where the garbage collector is already inbuilt in which software? Python software itself. Now I'm going to say every garbage collector contains its own destructor. Actual memory space destructor is the concept of destructor. So the purpose of destructor is, now I'm going to write it. Purpose of destructor. Purpose of destructor is that to to eliminate eliminate unused memory space. To eliminate unused memory space. Such a destructor code was written inside of what? Garbage collector. So every garbage collector contains its own destructor. That means a programmer need not to write destructor. Even this class, if I say no need to discuss this topic. If I say, student will think in a wrong, negative thinking they will take, negative thinking they will have. So that's why I'm discussing, because after listening that you will come to know that no need to write destructor in the program. Destructor mechanism taken care by whom? Garbage collector itself. Already garbage collector was there in where? So that code was already written in the Python software. You need not to write any such type of code. So if I say that, so people can't able to believe the people, because you have seen all wrong people in earlier days. So that's why today I'm going to discuss that. What is the syntax for defining? What is the syntax for defining destructor? Syntax for defining destructor. I'm going to write it. Syntax for defining destructor. So what is the syntax for defining destructor? DEF. Now I'm going to write underscore underscore del. Underscore underscore del of what? Self. Here we are going to write a block of statements which deallocates what is this? Memory space, which deallocates the memory space. This is the actual meaning of what? Destructor definition. What is the syntax of constructor? What is the syntax for constructor, which we know already? What is the syntax? Def underscore underscore init underscore underscore of self, underscore underscore of self. There I'm going to write it. There I'm going to write it. Block of statements will meant for what? Initialization. Who will call constructor? Who will call constructor, students? Hmm? Who will call constructor? Hmm? PVM. Very good. During what time? Object creation. Very good. Who will call destructor? Who will call destructor? Here I wrote it. PVM will not call the destructor. PVM will not call the destructor. Who will call the destructor? Destructor called by the garbage collector. So every destructor, every destructor, every destructor, of course, per program, for entire Java project, there is a single destructor will be there. Every destructor called by which one? Garbage collector. Called by garbage collector. Called by garbage collector. Every destructor called by garbage collector. Every constructor called by PVM. During what creation? Object creation. So first, what will be called? During object creation, what will happen actually? During object creation, what will happen? Come on, quick. Memory space will create. Yesterday I said to you, data can be stored by initializing by calling the constructor. After everything is over, at the end of the program, whatever the object which was initialized and memory space was created, at the end of the program, whatever the object was created, that will be destroyed. To destroy that object, what will be calling? The destructor called by whom? So at the end of the program, what will happen? The garbage collector will destroy the object what was created in the program. What are all the objects are created in the program that are all destroyed by whom? Destructor, which is called by whom? Garbage collector. So conclusion I am going to give. When the program starts executing, that is called what? Object creation, initialization done, and the logic will be executed. At the end of the program, what will be taking? Cleaning the process will be taken. Cleaning up process means what? The objects what are created that are all getting eliminated. Who will eliminate the objects of our present program? Garbage collector. Garbage collector in turns calls what? Destructor. So how the program will be? When the Python program starts, what will be taken place? Objects will be created, memory space will be created, initializing the objects, utilized in the program, logic executed. At the end of the program, what to do? Remove all the objects. Removing objects means what? Garbage collector calls its destructor. Why garbage collector is calling the destructor? To deallocate the memory space. Memory space borrowed from where? Main memory. Who will borrow? OS will give you the memory space to your program. Who will request the OS to give the memory space? PVM will request the OS to give the memory space to the program. That will be given. Once the program execution is over, what PVM will do? Whatever the memory space borrowed, that memory space given to whom? OS. OS will keep its memory space to its original state. It is an actual procedure of program execution in any of the environment. Are you understanding? Once you get your money from somewhere, after your work is over, after getting the money, you will give the money back to the person or not. Like that, program execution also will be done like that. So you see one program now. I'll tell you a lot of examples here. What is the difference between destructor and constructor? Compulsory rhythmic question. Compulsory, what is the constructor will do? Initializing the object during the object creation. What destructor will do? Destroy the objects by the garbage collector by calling its own destructor. Actually, destructors we never write in the real time, but having that knowledge is so important to the programmer. Shall we show you that example now? Right. Online students, here destructor and how the destructor is going to be syntax and who will call the destructor I said to you. Now I'm going to write the examples of destructor here. Now I'm going to write the simplest program here. Program for demonstrating the destructor. Actually, this we are getting an idea today, but actually we don't write the code in the destructor in the real time. Why we don't write? You will understand in today's class. Class EMP, class EMP, employee, DEF underscore init of self comma ENO comma ename. So there I am writing here. I am from which constructor this is? Which constructor? Very good. I am from parameterized constructor. Parameterized constructor. I'm going to write it. There I am writing self.eno is equal to eno. Self.ename is equal to ename I am writing. And I am printing here. I am printing here employee number. Employee number is equal to something I am writing. Dot format of self.eno. Next I am writing print of what? Backslash t. EMP name I am writing. EMP name. So I am writing here name. EMP name I am writing. So name I am going to write it. So done. Print of it. So this is going to be the scenario now. So this is the class which I am having. Go to the main program. Go to the main program. I am going to write it. So here I am going to write it. E1 is equal to employee of 100 comma RS I am going to write it. This is known as what I said, object creation, Because of that, what will happen? Memory space will be created. E1 is containing like that. Number is there, name is there, whose address is available, everything is available like this in the memory. This will take some memory space. How to measure the memory space of an object? Today I am going to tell you. Very good example. Calls the PVM, makes the PVM to call which constructor? Parameter constructor. So what are the values of E1? What are the values of E1? Madhu, E and O, and next is what? E name. How many values are there in E1? Two values. How do you find the number of values in an object? Very regularly asking question. How do you find the number of values in an object? Huh? The law student. Yes. Hmm. So you're completely గౌతమ బుద్ధుడిలా కూర్చొని ఉన్నాను. అంత ధ్యానంలో ఉన్నావు అనమాట. మెడిటేషన్లో ఉండవు దేంట్లోనో తెలియదు నాకు. కంప్లీట్లీ డిఫరెంట్. ఫస్ట్ క్లాసా? సో డైలీ యూస్ టు కమ్. Yesterday you came. Where you? Yesterday you came. Saturday, Friday అసలు రాలే ఇంతవరకు. మరి ఎందుకు వచ్చావు ఈరోజు? అమ్మా, 1 week ఆఫ్లైనా ఆన్లైనా? Online you are there? Online. Yesterday you attended online? No. Friday? No online. No online, no offline. Underline. చూడు. సో నీకేం అర్థం కాదు. ఇంకా చూస్తా ఉంటావు ఏం టైప్ చేస్తున్నా ఇంగ్లీష్లో. ఓకేనా? మళ్ళీ అటెండ్గా వేరే క్లాస్ స్టార్ట్ అయినప్పుడు అటెండ్గా. ఇప్పుడు ఏం అర్థం చేసుకోకు. ఓకే? అర్థం చేసుకున్నావు అనుకో హెడేక్ వస్తుంది నీకు. డోంట్ అటెండ్. ఓకే? జస్ట్ డూ సమ్ మెడిటేషన్. నెక్స్ట్ పక్క స్టూడెంట్ కూడా ఆయన కొత్తగా కనిపిస్తున్నాడు. యూ ఆల్సో న్యూ స్టూడెంట్. నెక్స్ట్. ఎస్, యూ ఆల్సో లుకింగ్ న్యూ. ఎవరిడే స్టాండ్ అప్. Yesterday came. Yesterday. What I taught? Yesterday what I taught? Came yesterday? No. But you said yes like that. Day before yesterday? Came. Sunday you came. So, like that. So if you come like that, how can you get subject student? Okay, let it be students. E1 is equal to employee of 100 comma RS. Object creation makes the PVM to call the constructor, initializing the object. How to find the number of values in E1? Huh? Who will tell? Just raise your hand. I want to see one answer. 3 members, 4 members, 5 members. ఎట్లంటే సింటాక్స్ చెప్తావా? సే నో యూ సే. E1 dot underscore underscore dict underscore underscore. That will give you number of values. Right or wrong? Wrong. That is used to print the values in the object. To find the number of values, I have tried len of len of that what you said. That is called finding the number of values. What are the values to print? We will use that. Okay? అందుకని ఇట్లా అన్నామేమో. Those who said like that, that is like that. So, come to the point of it. E1 is equal to, these values are getting initialized. Next, I will create one more object. One more object I will create, E2. One more object created called 200. Next, I am going to write a TR. Like that, one more object I will create, E3. So, 300 I will write it. So, there I am going to write a DR here. This is my data. Here I am going to write it. Program execution completed. Program execution completed. So I'm going to write it. Program execution started. Program execution started. Program execution started. Now I'm going to write it. Here I'm going to write program execution ended. Program execution ended. In middle of it, what is happening? The object created, memory space created, memory space created, initializing also taken place. So here I will write it. It is the non-destructor example. There was no destructor concept written in this program. Especially, we don't write any destructor concept in our programming at all, students. Remember that. So I'm going to enter into this oops here. There I will create one small thing called a destructor. In that, inside of it, I will save my code. I will save my code. So here I'm going to write it. Now I'm going to save this code. Done. Go to the command prompt once. Here I'm going to enter into this. Look at students. Here, E colon, go to KVR, Python here, say 11 a.m. So there I will go to, oops here, CD, destructor here. So here I'm going to write it, PY. So I'm going to write it, non-destructor example 1.py. So program execution started, program execution ended. In middle of it, this is the statements which are getting executed here. All the objects are initializing. Do you know, student, the moment when program execution ended, without knowing you, as a software engineer, you must know about it. Once my program execution getting ended, the entire PVM job is what? Once it is getting completed, it will invoke the garbage collector. The garbage collector will clean up this entire memory space and hand over the memory space to PVM. PVM will hand over to the OS. This is an actual process will be done. So once the program execution is getting completed, automatically E1 object data, E2 object data, E3 object memory space, whatever was borrowed from memory, which was deallocated. Deallocated means it is getting removed from our program to give the memory space back to the OS. So how we know that if any person is asking an interview, how can we show that kind of thing? So at the end of the program execution, who will call? I said garbage collector will call. Which one? Destructor. So that I said, okay, conceptually can remember, but how can we see programmatically? That is our target today. So here I'm going to write another code with a destructor concept now. So the previous code says that what? Here, where is the destructor concept is automatically getting called once the line number 17 is over. But I want to see practically in the class. So I'm going to write it destructor example 1.py. Destructor example 1.py. First time I am defining def underscore underscore del underscore del of self. I'm writing. Here I'm writing one beautiful statement. What is that? GC calls, GC calls, GC calls underscore del of GC calls underscore del for deallocating, for deallocating what memory space? For deallocating the memory space of what? I'm writing dot format of ID of self. ID of self. What is this ID of self? Which object ID will be deallocated? E1, E2, and E3 objects will be deallocated. That means once the program execution getting completed in the line number 19, line number 20, which is calls, automatically GC calls what? Its own destructor. That you need not to worry about it. It was already defined it. But as a programmer, I want to see that message. So that's why I will define my own destructor here. There, I just mentioned this process. So once this program execution is getting completed, GC is calling what? Destructor of what? Its own destructor. Before that, it is going to see, is there any destructor defined by the programmer? Yes, defined. This will execute. After executing, it will call its own destructor to deallocate the memory space of E1, E2, E3. How the memory space is deallocated? Internally, They have written operating system related code they have written. Using system calls, they will deallocate that memory space. So that system calls and all those things as a programmer, we never bother about it. Why? When it is deallocated by the destructor itself, why we bother about that code? Even if you try to understand that system calls of OS concepts you require, memory management concept we require, and no programmer will worry about this. As a project manager, as a project developer, as a project software engineer, we never bother about how the memory will be deallocated. As a system software engineer, with a OS developer, you will write the memory deallocation code. The overall conclusion is I am writing the del how this destructor is called by the garbage collector at the end of the program I am showing. At the same time, I am showing you, I am from parameters constructor. I would like to show you the which object got initialized. I am going to write it. ID of what I am writing? Self. ID of self I am going to write it. So try to see that first object address is getting initialized here. Second object also getting initialized. Third object also getting initialized. After getting done, I'm going to call for your time to see of some 5 seconds I'm writing. This is called what? Pause time. Pause. Pause time means some gap of time will be there. So between 1 second to another second, some gap of time will be there. Na? After showing this, I want to make you to sleep for this much time. PVM will not go to the next 21 statement. Once this is over, what I said automatically, once the program execution is completed, PVM will invoke the garbage collector to call its own destructor. So how many times destructor will be called here? How many times? Three times it will be called. One is called what? E1 memory space will be destroyed. E2 memory space will be destroyed. E3 memory space will be destroyed. How much memory space will be destroyed also I will show you. So many 5 to 6 examples I will show you. You go on observing that example. Full knowledge will be coming about the destructor. See that now? I'm pressing enter key. So I'm going to write it. Some bracket problem maybe. So here, close this bracket. Here also, I hope close this bracket. Try to run this code. See now. So I'm going to take up here. What is happening? Import time. Import what? Time. Time is called what? One module here. Time dot sleep. Import one module there. Go to this place. Here I'm going to write it. See this. All these things are done. Now it is calling 3 times. It is calling the destructor. GC calls its own destructor for deallocating the memory space of what? 2208, whose memory destroyed, 7376, whose memory destroyed, 7696, whose memory space will be destroyed. I hope that whatever the objects are created, once the program gets execution ended, automatically what is calling? Garbage collector is calling the destructor to deallocate the memory space of each objects. The three objects which are created, whose memory space will be destroyed. I hope that it is clear about it. And there is no special award will be given when you write this kind of thing. Even in the previous program case also, once three objects getting completed its execution, whose memory space will be automatically destroyed by what? Garbage collector by calling its own destructor. Is it clear? So in this case, what is happening? Destructor will be called when? Destructor called by GC when? When the GC calls its destructor after the program execution completed. That is known as what? Automatic garbage collection. What is that now? Automatic garbage collection. Automatic garbage collection. So who is taking care about the memory management of Python program? Garbage collector. Last class, in the beginning only I mentioned it. Hence, garbage collector takes care about automatic memory management. In the beginning day, when I am explaining simple facility only, automatic memory management taken care by the garbage collector. Here, this is the best example for you. Once the program execution getting ended, whose memory space will be automatically destroyed. By whom? Garbage collector itself. How much memory space is occupied? That is my next program I am going to show you. Let us go to the next program. Level by level program you see, you are going to get good knowledge once you follow. So here, for a minute, you don't write this. So I'm going to write it. Destructor example 2.py. There I'm going to write it. Here, before the program execution ended, I'm going to write it. Compute, compute the memory space, compute the memory space of object E1, E2, and what? E3. Compute the memory space of E1, E2, and what? E3. So what I'm going to write it? Memory space is equal to, memory space is equal to, what is this? There is a module called sys dot get size of, there is a memory space called E1. One day, when you, if you remember it, time complexity and then space complexity, I said, if you remember it, time and space complexity. So what is the time complexity? Amount of time taken by the processor to execute my program is called a time complexity. Space complexity is an amount of space taken by our program in the main memory is called what? Space complexity. Time complexity must be minimum and space complexity must be minimum to execute our Python program. Now I'm going to write it sys dot get size of E1, which is going to get it into where memory space is here. How much memory space is coming? I am writing. So memory space of E1 object, E1 object is equal to, I'm going to write it, memory space of, I'm going to write it. So I'm going to, this is the mechanism for computing the memory space of an object. So here I'm going to write it, destructor example 2.py. I will save it, try to execute. Here I'm going to write it, py, example 2.py. So what is happening? Sys module, you need to go for it. Sys module, import sys module here. See that, what is the memory space of E1 object? 48 bytes. 48 bytes of memory space is taken. For which object? E1. Similarly, compute the total memory space. Compute the total memory space of hmm, memory space of object E1, E2, E3. So sys dot get size of E1 plus sys dot get size of E2 plus sys dot get size of E3. So get size of E1, get size of E2, get size of E3. This is called what? Total memory space. TOT memory space. Here I am writing total memory space of all objects. Total memory space of all objects is equal to how much? 48 plus 48 plus 48. 348. How much? రాదు 144. అడిషన్స్ రాదు. మళ్ళీ మన పేపర్ తీసుకోవాలి, పెన్ తీసుకోవాలి. 48 ప్లస్ 48 అన్న మళ్ళీ యాడ్ చేసుకోవాలి. అంత చాలా కథ దానికి మళ్ళీ. యూ నీడ్ టు టేక్ అ బిగ్ పేపర్. 144. 340 is 120, 3 8s 24, 120 plus 24 is 144. So brain should work properly. So to work properly means you need to read most of the time so that our brain will be sharper. So execute now. So what is the total memory space? 144 is the memory space. So anybody ask you in the interview point of view, how do you measure the memory space of an object? What is the function now? Get size of. Which module it is present in? Says a dot. Okay. Who will deallocate 144 bytes of memory space? Garbage collector. Garbage collector calls what? Destructor. So who will originally destruct the memory space? Who will originally destruct the memory space? Muddu. Who will destroy the memory space? Unused memory space collected by whom? Garbage collector. Garbage collector internally calls what? Destructor. So where is the memory destructions code was written? Destructor. Destructor called by whom? So who is the original person to destroy the memory space? Destructor. Destructor called by whom? Garbage collector. Who will prepare the food in the hotel? Hotel owner. Huh? Who will prepare? Chef. There is some master will be there. Who is the worker inside the hotel? Hotel owner will prepare. No. So who will prepare? So who will destroy the memory space? Destructor. Who is calling the destructor? So garbage collector is the upper level layer. So who is going to destroy the memory space originally? Destructor. Who will call destructor? That's all. So I'm going to write it. Now today I'm going to write the destructor here. So I will write the destructor here. So this part I will carry. This part I am going to carry. Carefully try to follow. Here I am going to write. How to deallocate the memory space? That is the point. What is the total memory space? I got it here 144. When the program execution is ended, which object memory space is destroyed? Previously, how many times the garbage collector called the destructor? 3 times. Why? 3 objects. Here also, which object memory space will be destroyed first? E1. E1. When E1 object memory space is destroyed, how much memory space is left out? 144 is the original memory space. When first object is gone, minus 48 will be destroyed or not? How much memory space? 96. 96. Next, which object will be destroyed? E2. What is the next memory space available? 48. When third object also destroyed, what is the memory space available? 0. That indicates what? Memory will be destroyed object by object at the end of the program execution. That is the complete practical illustration about how garbage collector calls its own destructor. So I'm going to write it. Start with. Now, this is the total memory space of all objects in this program. So today I want to go forward. Once the first object memory space is destroyed by the garbage collector through destructor, what is the remaining memory space I need to do? What is the remaining memory space? Total memory space is which type of variable? Simply out of order. It is a global variable. It is a global variable. Here I will write it. Total memory space is equal to total memory space minus self total memory space minus sys dot get the size of what? Self. Get the size of self. Which object memory space first destroyed? E1. E1 is available in the form of what? Self. What is the total memory space? 144. Minus sys dot get size of which object? First object. First object means whose address is there in self. That address printed. Whose memory space is how much? 48. 144 minus 48. Come on. 96. 96 it is going to be available here. Next, which object memory space? E2. E2 address is there in where? Self. Self. And what is that now? 98 minus 48. What is the remaining memory space? 48. Next, which object memory space? E3. E3 is address is there in self. Whose address will be printed? 48 minus what? 48. What is the remaining memory space? 0. But accounting policy I want to print. Now I am going to write it backslash t. Now available memory space. Now available memory space. Here I am going to write it. Now available memory space is equal to TOT memory space. TOT memory space. Are you following me? So will it execute or not? Come on. Will it execute or not? మీకేం తెలుసు ఇప్పుడు ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేస్తే కదా సో దిస్ విల్ నాట్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ because you need global keyword to use because I'm modifying the global variable inside the function body. When you are modifying the global variable inside the function body, we need to write which keyword? Global keyword. Otherwise, you will get unbound local error will be coming. Unbound local error will be coming. So try to write a global TOT memory space. You need to write a compulsory. So here I will execute my program. You see time dot sleep of some 6 seconds I will write it. Once the program execution ended, after 6 seconds, this is getting showing to you one by one to you people. So let me execute that. And going to give you like this. So online students, try to understand now. You see here What is happening? Total memory space, extra bracket. You execute now. See this now. What happens? Sys module is not there. Sys dot get size of time also required. Okay. So see that program execution 144 after 6 seconds. Observe very carefully. So it is giving some error here. Module has get a size of. Here get a size of already used. Here get size only we are using. I forget to write OF. Get size of you need to write. 144. These objects are initialized. Now you are going to get the accounting procedure. So see that what is this now? 144. Program execution ended. What object memory space is destroying? First object. What is the first object? 7408. Whose memory space destroying? What is the available memory space? 96. Why? First object was gone. Second object now. Second object is 5792. This is called 5792. 5792. That is also getting removed. Available memory space is 48. Next, GC calls its memory space 6112. 6112. Whose memory space is available right now? What? 0. How much memory space borrowed? 144. First object removed, remaining. Second object removed, remaining. That object also removed, memory space is 0. Is it clear about it? So this is the systematic programmatic execution of what? Garbage collector, how it will call. So if anybody asks you how garbage collector executes internally, this is the flow you need to write. But is it really necessary to be written by the programmer? No need. So who will take care about it? Automatically garbage collector takes care about this. Even if I am able to write the first program like that, whose memory space is automatically destroyed. As a programmer, I need not write this entire coding for memory space measurement and all. But having that knowledge is compulsory. Online students, by seeing this output, I think you are understanding that how garbage collector is calling. So garbage collector is calling in the middle of the program, end of the program, end of the program. This is known as which garbage collection? చెప్పాను కదా మొద్దు automatic garbage collection. Spell out why it is called automatic garbage collection. At the end of the program execution, we are able to see total memory deallocation. Since it is calling at the end of the program execution, it is known as what? Automatic garbage collection. Shall I go to the next? If you take your mobile software, if you take your mobile software, if you look at the mobile software, what you are having every day for every 24 hours, this time, what is this time? This is called what? 00 for every 24 hours time. The system booster will execute internally. The mobile booster application will execute. That is nothing but what are all the calls you made, what are all the things you have done in the day. That entire device will be boosted by executing one program internally. Every day that system booster program will be running internally. That is something like which program? Garbage collection program. Are you getting me? In middle of the day also, you can invoke one system boosting program also. That is called forceful garbage collection we can call. So I'm going to introduce one more example, which is going to show you forceful garbage collection. Spell out once. Forceful garbage collection. What do you mean by forceful garbage collection? What do you mean by forceful garbage collection? I don't want to make it to call at the end of the program execution. I want to make it to eliminate the memory space in the middle of the program execution only. That is known as what? Forceful garbage collection. What is the previous program calling? Garbage collector is called by the destructor at the end of the program execution. That is known as what? Garbage collection. Next is called what? This is called what? Also automatic garbage collection. Previous program is also called what? Automatic garbage collection. Simple. Simple. For example, there is a human being life 0 to 100 years. 0 to 100 years. This is 101 year. What is this 101 year? garbage collector collected away. What is this is called? Automatic garbage collection. Following or not? And you have seen recently one road accident in the national highway, and one person is drunk and then driven. What happens? Forcefully garbage collected. This is forceful garbage collection. Are you following that? Forceful. 0 to 100 years not completed. 0 to middle only forceful garbage collection. Drunken drive. So behind what is running? Garbage collector is running. So that is called what? And don't tell this example in interview. మీరు ముందే సామాన్యులు కాదు. 1 day coming, 10 days not coming. No online, no underline. Online, offline, no. Underline. Because of that only this example she will remember. So very useful to write exam, academic exams, but not useful to go to an interview. So coming to next one point I'm going to say. Program execution ended. Program execution started. Program execution ended. So what I'm trying to say here, in this case, I'm going to tell you programmatic forceful garbage collection I'm going to take up. Shall we go for that? What is that example I'm going to show? Forceful garbage collection. What is the default execution process of garbage collection? Automatic garbage collection. When? At the end of the program execution. At the end of the program execution. You need to speak out. At the end of the program execution. When you go to the interview, we need to speak out. If you keep like that, you will say, they'll say like that. Forceful garbage collection. Spell out. What is the actual one? Automatic garbage collection. So what is the need of forceful garbage collection? I'm going to tell you. Try to follow. Online students, is this memory space example is clear for all of you? Respond it. So these days online students response is not proper. Only Soumya is giving proper answers. Others are not giving properly. So now I'm going to enter into the further. Forceful garbage collection I'm going to show. This garbage collection is known as what? Automatic garbage collection. Well, let me go to the need of forceful garbage collection. For example, student, I'm writing a big project which contains line number 1, line number 2, so on. I'm having 500 lines of code. 500 lines of code. So program execution started in line number 1, line number 2, so on 499 and then 500. Do you know students, I am using some objects in every line. I am using certain objects. Assume that some of the objects which are available 1 to 10 lines, some of the objects which are used in 1, 2, 3, etc., their usage is completed in line number 10 only. Line number 10 only, that usage is completed. But you did not write any mechanism for removing the memory space of O1, O2, O3, some number of objects which are there up to line number 10, you are not writing any memory space deallocation program. And they are available up to which line to complete to eliminate the memory space? 500 lines. So is it not waste of our time? Unnecessarily, you are keeping a more burden on Python program to maintain the memory space of each one? O1, O2, O3, O4. Unnecessarily, you are making the Python program to maintain the memory space of unused objects also for a long time. So this is what is reducing the performance of my program. In simple word, if you did not understand, 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock are our classes, for example. Assume that you are attending all classes. 7 o'clock class completed. 9 o'clock class completed, 11 o'clock class completed. This is a lunch time. And 4 o'clock, you are going for lunch, you are coming for 4 o'clock and then 6 o'clock. What you are going to do? 7 o'clock books, 9 o'clock books, 11 o'clock books. You are taking to your hostel and you are keeping those books in the hostel. You are bringing the new books for 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Instead of that, You are carrying 7 o'clock books, 9 o'clock books, even though classes are completing, you are carrying the same bag to the 4 o'clock also, and the 6 o'clock also. What is the burden at 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock? These books are compulsory, but you are carrying the same bag of morning class bag also you are carrying as this. Is it not heavy weight on your carry? So what do you need to do? We will eliminate 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock books immediately, and we will bring only the books of what? 4 and 6. So you'll feel lightweight or not? So if I carry unnecessarily these books also, it will take what time? More time to execute, and more space also will be taken. It is going to decrease the performance of the program. So what I am trying to say, once I feel that there is no need of maintaining that object for a long time, I need to call what? Call the garbage collector that time. That is called which collection? Forceful garbage collection. I think you are following me. Clear or not clear? Clear. So one more example. ఇంకా కొంతమందికి ఇంగ్లీష్ అర్థం అవ్వాల. He is a person, he is selling lot of goods. Lot of goods he is selling. So this is called first item, second item, third item, fourth item, like that fifth item. All these items are there on the top of the head. So first item completed. First item completed means inside that box, one item is there. He is giving that item and he is keeping that same box again in his head. Next item also completed. He is giving that item and he is keeping that box on the head. So he is giving the items and unnecessarily keeping that boxes on the head. Is it not necessary heavyweight? Once the first item is over, keep the box and the item to that flow. And giving that, you reduce going on reducing that memory space. Once it is completed, you are not having any heavy weight on your head. Something like that. My Python program also same thing like this. I want to go for E1 object. Now I am writing here print of no longer interested in, no longer interested in usage of, no longer interested in use of which object? O1 object. That time I am no longer interested to use an object O1. That time what I will do? Time dot sleep of something like this. I am writing 5. That means after giving this message to make you to understand, I am giving some pause gap of time. There I am going to write it. Now I want to destroy this object. Automatically objects will be destroyed at the end of the program. But in the middle of the program only I want to destroy. How do you destroy an object? How do you delete an object? You tell me. Come on. Del operator I said. Already del operator I said. Did you remember? How many syntaxes I said? అది గుర్తులేదు కానీ ఓన్లీ డెల్ గుర్తుంది. But I'm remembering 3 syntaxes. Del of what? Mutable object index. Del of mutable object start, stop, step. Del of what? Mutable plus immutable object. 3 syntaxes I said. Here that syntax I'm using. Del of what? E1. This makes the garbage collector, makes the garbage collector GC to call its destructor, to call its destructor forcefully. How do you make the garbage collector to call its destructor forcefully? Whenever you say del of E1, automatically GC calls its destructor forcefully. That time, what will call? This object memory space will be destroyed. Are you getting my point? Similarly, next one more. No longer interested to call time dot sleep off, time dot sleep off. 5 seconds I am writing. Again, I am going to write the same thing here. Again, I am going to write the same thing. No longer interested in maintaining the object E2. Here time dot sleep. Del of what again? E2. E2. This E2 object memory space I want to create. This is the one I am getting created. This is an object getting created. Next, after that, what will happen? Removing this also. Next, which object you are creating? Time dot sleep of this one. Automatically E3 object is creating. No longer interested to create the memory space of E3. So this is also getting created. This is called what? E3. So what did you understand about this? This is called E3. What did you understand about this? After the program execution is ended, do you have any more things to be removed from this program? No. That means before the program execution is ended, what will happen? Automatically, all these objects are forcefully collected or not? How do you make the garbage collector to call its destructor forcefully? By going forward, del E1, del E2, all the objects I am removing forcefully so that the destructor is calling before the program execution ended. This is known as which type of garbage collection? Forceful garbage collection. So very, very important. This knowledge is very, very important. Execute PEY online students. See, first object created. No longer interested in using object E1. Dull. Time is over. It is going to be first object removed. Second object initializing. This one. No longer interested to use E2. Garbage collector calls 6816 removed. Third object initializing, no longer interested to use E3 object, self, but also getting removed. 6816 program execution ended. Am I calling any more thing? Is anything calling at the end? What is this garbage collection called? Forceful garbage collection. Earlier garbage collection is what? How many types of garbage collections? Two. One is automatic garbage collection, forceful garbage collection. When the automatic garbage collection takes place? At the end of the program execution. What is the forceful garbage collection? When I am no longer interested to use that object further in my programs, I will remove that object then and there. That is known as what? Forceful garbage collection. Are you getting my point? So, best example is your timetable of the school days. Today timetable is different, tomorrow timetable is different. In the bag, I will carry total books. Huh? No, I will remove the books which I am not having classes or not. College and etc. It is available. So it's something like this. This is known as what? Forceful garbage collection. Suppose if I am not writing this one, if I am not writing del off this one, if I am not writing, see what will happen. So that E3 related will be calling when program execution is ended. It is calling because I removed del of E3. Execute this same example. Observe it. It is calling at the end of that only will be calling. So even called here. Immediately next E2 will be initializing, whose memory space also will be removed forcefully. But E3 will be calling when last it will call. Called here. Immediately next E2 will be initializing, whose memory space also will be removed forcefully. But E3 will be calling when last it will call. Because I did not write a del. That will be calling at the end. So no longer interested to use the O3, not calling. Program execution ended. At the end only it is getting calling. So last part is called what? Mudu. Automatic garbage collection. What about these two are called? Forceful garbage collection. I think you are following me. Right, done. Go to back. So I'm going to write here. Forceful garbage collection is my intention to call it. I think you got my point. Clear? Right. What is the forceful garbage collection syntax? Del E1. Next, one more I'm going to take it. One more syntax I'm going to take it. One day, I said you one data type called a none. Did you remember none data type? None data type. So another way of forceful garbage collection, same story. There I'm going to write. Instead of del, I can also write E1 is equal to what? None, indicating that E1 contains which value? None. Whatever the memory space it is pointing to that object which is destroyed and contains, it is nothing but nullifying the object, which makes the GC to call its destructor forcefully. In C language, if you know subject of C language perfectly, we will use their NULL. If you go to Java, you'll go for capital NU, capital null, N only. If you go to Python, we will use it as what? None. These are for what? Making the object to destroy its memory space. This is another way to destroy the object and makes the PVM to call its destructor forcefully. Now I'm going to write it. E2 is there, na? You will write what? E2 is equal to what are you writing? None. There also you are writing E3. There you are saying E3 is equal to what you are writing? None. This is also making the GC2 calls its destructor forcefully. How many syntaxes are there to call the destructor forcefully? Two. One is del object name. One more is object name is equal to none you need to write. These are the two ways. So what is the use of none data type? None data type beginning I said. What is the none? Is a keyword. A is equal to none. That is nothing but what? Type of none is called none type. When do you use it? Where do you use it? The purpose of none data type is to make the PVM to make the garbage collector to call its destructor forcefully. I will use which value? None value I will use it. Because at the time of none data type, if I say this word, you cannot understand. That's why today I am addressing that. Are you following me? So let us execute this now. It is also forceful garbage collection. Destructor example 4.py. 4.py. Execute, go to the place py. Destructor example 4.py. Same to same execution like a previous. No longer interested to use, called it. Not dull. It is equal to none. I wrote it. E2 object created. Also same thing, same output like a previous program. Called it. Second object memory space is called here. Third object, third object. Next is called what you know. Third object also getting removed. So I think that you are understanding the significance of what? Garbage collector and its memory space, how it is done. The main important thing is none. How many syntaxes are there to forcefully garbage to collect? Two. One is del object name. One more is object is equal to none. These are the two syntaxes. Online students, is it clear? Is it clear? Now I will go for one more example, something special example. Let me go to the next. So look at that. So I'm going to take up something like this. Students, I will write it something like this clearly. Try to go for it. This is my this is my object. This is the value 5.py. Something interesting. So go to this place now. I'm going to write it E1 object creation makes the PVM to call its constructor initialized with that. E2 is equal to E1. What is this E2 is equal to E1 is called deep copy. Earlier cases, we already discussed about what? Two types of copy techniques. One is deep copy, shallow copy. In shallow copy, addresses are huh, different. In deep copy, addresses are same. Same means is it creating two memory space, three memory spaces, or only one memory space? Only one memory space. Both of them will point to the same memory space. That's what we know. So, deep copy. E3 is equal to E1. E3 is equal to E1. How many objects created? How many objects created? Muthu, come on. Three objects created pointing to the same memory space. Three objects created pointing to the same memory space. How do you know that? ID of E1, comma, ID of E2, ID of E2. Next is what? ID of E3. ID of E3. To show you that all of them are containing which address? Same address. So, same address. Same address. So, example 5, PY. This is going to contain which address? Same address. Same address is available. How many objects created? 3. Pointing to which address? Very good. Be careful. Now you are ensuring that all objects contains which address? Same address. Okay. Now I am writing program execution is completed. Now I am writing destructor. Here I am writing destructor code I am writing. This destructor code I am writing. Tell me, tell me, in this case, I'm going to write it here. I'm going to write like this. So here, go to the del. So I'm going to write it. This entire thing, anyhow, you know that entire stuff. So here, this entire object, constructor called everything done. Now tell me, at the end of the program execution, you say by looking at that, is it forcible garbage collection or automatic garbage collection? Online students, everybody, come on. Automatic or forceful? Automatic. How do you know it is automatic? Because there is no del, there is no is equal to none. That's why it is called automatic. Automatic, right? Okay. Now, how many times destructor is calling here? That is my question today. How many objects created? Three objects. Earlier I created three objects. How many times it was called? Three times. You have seen it. Now here how many objects are there? Three objects. How many times destructor is calling now? One time only. Why one time? One memory space only will be there. There are no three memory spaces. That's why it will call how many times? One time. This is a very, very important. What the question is coming? When multiple objects are pointing to deep copy. How many times destructor called by the garbage collector? One time. If you know the subject, you will come to know. First of all, deep copy, shallow copy, if they don't know, shallow copy don't know, oops don't know, garbage collector don't know, destructor don't know. Finally, that student is don't know, ready to be collected by the garbage collector. So coming to the point back, here it is calling how many times only? Only one time it will be called. It is not going to call three times. So I'm going to write 5. I'm going to write it. This is a very important example. Sys here. So let us save the code. Destructor example 5.py. So save this code. Go to this example py destructor example 5. What happens? Time. So time is required first of all. Time only required. So there I am going to write it. See students, program execution, one object only, one time only it is getting called. Though I have three objects, it is created how many times? One time only created, one time only the memory space will be destroyed. Getting my point? Very good. Next, very interesting topic. Online students, is it clear for you? So this is a very important. Next, another example I am going to carry. Let us look into that. I'm going to carry something like this. Follow. Now there are three objects are there. Participated in deep copy. Okay. After that, here I am writing. Observe it. Here I am going to write it. No longer interested in calling that. Here I am going to write it. About this 5. About the 6 also I am going to take it. This is the one I am interested in going. Here I am writing. No longer interested in use of O1 object. Sleep. Del E1. Del E1. Now tell me del E1. Similarly, I will go for one more type of object. What is the next object I'm having? No longer interested in carrying which object? Which object? O2. O2 object also I'm going to carry. This is also O3 object also I'm going to carry. So that time you tell me like this I'm writing del this one and no longer interested in carrying this object here time dot sleep and again no longer interested in carrying this E2 sleep 2 E2 E2 object none or del is equal to I can write it anything you can write it and E3 this also I'm not interested in that. This is a E1 E2 no longer interested in E1 object del of E1 no longer interested in E2 del of E2. So next I'm going to say this del of E2 no longer interested in O3 object. Now coming to this place. Now tell me students, now what I am trying to ask is del of E3, del of E3. Now you tell me in this cases del of E1, you tell me will the GC calls its destructor forcefully? Will the GC calls its destructor forcefully? Come on, quickly. Yes, very good. Have you prepared anything already or what? Will the GC calls destructor forcefully? Hmm. No, no. Come on, first one. Will the GC calls its destructor forcefully? Yes. Next, will the GC calls its destructor forcefully? Second type. No. Will the GC calls its destructor forcefully? That means which time destructor calls forcefully? First time, second time, third time? First time. That is called a completely wrong answer. Wrong answer. అంటే ఎనీ ప్రిపేర్డ్ అంటే ముందు రెచ్చిపోయారు అసలంతా. So that is called a wrong answer. Now I am going to say first time it will not call, second time it will not call, third time only will call. Third time it will call, first time will not call, second time will not call, third time will not call. Here GC will not call. Here I am writing GC will not call, will not call, will not call its destructor forcefully. Sir, why? Because still what? EO2 and EO3 and EO3 points to the object, points to the object memory space, points to the object memory space. Only E1 I am removing, but still who is pointing? E2 and E3 still pointing to the object memory space. Here, GC will not call its destructor here also. Why? Still, who is going to be there? Still, what? Who is pointing? E3 points to whom? Object memory space. Still, E3 points to the object memory space. Here what will happen? GC will call its destructor forcefully. Here I am going to write it. Here I am going to write it. GC will call. GC will call its destructor forcefully. This is the answer of what? This is the answer of what? The example like this. I think you are following me. Did you understand? మీకు అర్థం కాకపోతే మీకు సంబంధించిన ఎగ్జాంపుల్ చెప్తాను. I will tell you the example related to you. You went to international airport. You went to international airport. So who is that? E1. One person name is E1. E2. These are the friend names. These are the friend names. E2 and E3. These are the three friends went to international airport. Then one person came from foreign countries. He brought a big bag of gold, 1 kg bag of gold. And police people found that he thrown one gold bag somewhere else outside. And you are found there only. And he ran away. Who is that? That person who brought gold bags from somewhere else. He thrown some bag outside and he ran away. Because when the police people caught, he put it in jail and so many queries will be there. He thrown that bag and he went off. And you both three members has seen 3 kg gold means what? No need to learn Python or something. So you found that okay, 1 kg gold bag is there whose address is like the XCX123, and three people are pointing to which bag? Same bag only. Then you are securing this bag very seriously. You did not gone there, but you stand nearby. And what others will think? This bag is related to these three members only. And nobody is seen. And there is one thief is also there. The thief is also there. Thief is waiting. So he is waiting for what? Something to steal from the passengers. So what even has done, you want to wait for 1 hour. After everybody gone, you want to take the gold bag and you want to come to your room or hostel. So even feeling already half an hour over, even is feeling that boring little bit. He said to E1 and E2, I am going little away to take a cup of tea. You please watch this bag. E1 went away to take a cup of tea. Will the thief will come and collect away this bag? No. Why? Still who is pointing? E2 and E3 is pointing. So thief will not come. Something like a garbage collector will not come to collect this memory space forcefully because still E2 and E3 pointing there. And E2 also feeling little inconvenient. He said, E1 went. E2 said to E3, E3, please watch the bag. I will also go and take cup of coffee. E2 also went to take a cup of coffee. And the E3 still pointing here. Will the thief will come and collect away this bag? No. So they are not coming. They are not coming. They are relaxing. E2, E1 is not coming, thinking that E2 and E3 pointing, gold bag is safe. E3, E2 thinking, E1 already went back long time. He came back. And E3 is also there. Two people are pointing there. E3 felt a little, he also felt inconvenient. He went outside to take a coconut water. He also went out. And nobody is pointing to this bag. And thief has seen. And what will be happening? Nobody is pointing to this memory space. Nobody pointing to this object whose memory space will be destroyed by the destructor. That is the story behind this. Del of E1 not collecting because still E2 and E3 pointing. Del of E2 not collecting, but still E3 pointing to the object memory space. Del of E3, no more objects are pointing. The time it is calling forcefully. Did you understand the story and the subject? Will you tell story or subject? Knock doubt. Doubt. What you will tell about the subject? చెప్పండి మరి ఏం చెప్తారు సబ్జెక్ట్ బికాస్ దట్ పవర్ ఆఫ్ ఇంగ్లీష్ ఈస్ రిక్వైర్డ్ ఫర్ ఏ వాట్ ఇస్ దట్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ when multiple objects are pointing to deep copy when I am removing one object the memory space of that object will not be removed because still other two objects will point to the same memory space. When I remove the second object also memory space will not be deleted second time because third object is still pointing. When I remove the third object no more objects are pointing to that memory space. That time the existing memory space of the object collected by garbage collector forcefully, not first beginning to not collected. This is the way to express your subject. How you will get that? When you read daily, when you respond to the faculty, time only you will come to know. When I am explaining, like a Gautam Buddha statue, if you stand like that, we sit like this, problem all the times. Because you will not get your communication first of all. In Hyderabad, all people will speak English. What English it is? Naresh office where? English వచ్చు మేము. Naresh office where? Where is Naresh office located? You will not get. Naresh office where? In Hyderabad, all people will speak English. What English? This English. Naresh office where? Where is Naresh office located? That is different. మీకు తెలుసు అదంతా. You know. Come to the point back. Execute. 6.py. Observe the students. First object. Not collecting. Not collecting. Why? Still E2 and O2 and O3 is pointing. Also not collecting. O2 not collecting. Still O3 is coming. O3 will come. So O3, that time only it is getting collected. and the program execution is going to be ended. Verify how many times it was removed? Only one time. Why first two times not removed? O2 pointing, O1 pointing. When O2 was there, still O3 pointing. When O3 completed, nobody is pointing. That's why it is calling. Clear? So, but is it necessary to write all these things in our program? No. Who is taking care? Garbage collector taking care. So, who is maintaining the memory space internally, automatically? Garbage collector. So, every garbage collector internally contains what? Destructor. Is it necessary to define the destructor by yourself? Why? Already, destructor was defined inside of garbage collector. That's why we need not to define destructor. Is it necessary to define the constructor or not? Yes, because we need to initialize our object. Getting my point? Yes. Online students, I hope that this is clear. Now I want to tell you about with this mechanism, you understood which one is calling what? Which one is calling what, you tell me? PVM calls the constructor during object creation. Garbage collector calls the destructor automatically at the end of the program execution. For the object creation, this is end of the program execution. Forcefully also you can call by using what? A del, by making object is equal to none. These are the two conditions for forceful garbage collection. Okay. Next, I want to know whether the garbage collector running or not. You are understanding? Destructor is calling. Who is calling? Garbage collector. How do you show me garbage collector is running or not? How do you show me garbage collector is running or not? Are you getting my question? Can you show destructor called by GC at the end of the program execution? Yes, I shown you because I written what? Del DEF underscore underscore del. I wrote it and you are getting the answer. Correct? Now I want to show how do you know that every program internally who is running? Garbage collector is running. How do you know that? That I am trying to show you. So here destructor called by the GC you are showing well and good because you defined del automatically calling, forcefully also calling, you are showing. What is coming? Destructor is coming. Now what I want to show? Garbage collector is coming. Garbage collector is executing or not executing. How can I show? Are you getting first of all? Like suppose you are there, for example. How can I understand that you are taking breath or not? How I will understand that you are taking breath or not? Hmm? So you have to answer. Sir, if anybody is asking that question, you tell to that person, you ask that person, close the mouth and nose for 5 minutes. What will happen? So he will say that whether it's taking breath or not. Is it an automatic process or not? Something like that. How garbage collector is running. Now I'm going to show you. See that? Very, very important. And I will link both this example with the garbage collector. An important point I want to conclude it. Now program for demonstrating demonstrating how GC runs, whether GC runs or not, demonstrating whether the GC runs or not, whether the GC runs or not, whether the GC runs or not. So I'm going to write it here. So whether the GC runs or not, whether the GC runs or not. Simple example, very simple example that I will link with my program execution also. I will link with the garbage collector again. So here I am going to write students. Program execution started. Program execution started. Execution started. So here I am going to write it. Program execution ended. In middle of it, in middle of it, in middle of it, what are you doing? Ended. Program execution ended. In middle of it, lot of logic you are writing. For example, A10, B20, C is equal to A plus B. Now you are writing value of A is equal to comma A. Value of A is equal to comma A. value of B is equal to comma B, simplest part of it, beginning code. Next I'm going to write it, sum is equal to like this I'm writing. Sum is equal to like this I'm writing, C is equal to I wrote it. So how many objects I'm using in this program? How many objects? ఇది చిన్నగా చెప్పడం ఎందుకు గట్టిగా చెప్పలేరా? How many objects? Three. Spell out. Three. What are the three? ABC. What are the type of ABC? Int. Spell out. What is int? Class. Class. In the int class, what they defined? In employee class, what I was defined? Destructor I was defined. In the int class, what they defined? Destructor they defined. Who defined? Python software developers defined what? In int class, what was defined? Destructor was defined. Which objects are getting destroyed? Int objects. So int object is destroyed means which destructor is calling? Int class related destructor called by whom? GC. Are you able to project this? Employee class objects destroyed. How the employee class objects are destroyed? By executing the destructor of my class called employee. Int class, float class, bool class. So many classes I said. So many classes. Lot of classes I said to you. Which you are unable to remember also. That many classes I said. In every class, what is available? Destructor. So, what I am trying to tell is, they did not define destructor in int class, float class, bool class, complex class. They did not define. They defined the destructor in one class. That class name is called object class. What is the class name? In the object class, they defined the garbage collector, destructor concept they defined. That class is a super class for all the classes in Python. That class is a super class for all the classes in Python. Super class means I was introduced one small awareness for you in the exception handling. Exception, base exception is a super class. Class insufficient funder in the bracket exception. Class deposit error in the bracket exception. Something I was explained. Base class, derived class, parent, child, teacher, student. This is called inheritance procedure. That is going to start in the next session. Inheritance concept. Something like that. I will address once again. Today you imagine they did not define the destructor in every class. Where they defined in one super class, they defined it. That is inherited into every class of our Python. So destructor was defined in which class? Object class, which is a super class for all the classes in Python. That's why if we go to the help of Python language, if we go to the Python language help, you observe it help of, for example, int, int, you will get like this. You will get like this. What is that you are getting now? You see class, int of. What will be there in the bracket? Object. So object facilities are coming to where? Why this is an object? Because it provides a garbage collection facility to all its subclasses. Class float also. What is that bracket? Object. Object is a class. Every class of Python belongs to what? Module. That module name is called built-ins module. So help of int. Sorry. Class int of what? Object. Object is a superclass. In that class, destructor concept and garbage collector concept is inherited into my class. Similarly, go to the one more kind of class called float. Float class also superclass is what? Object. Next I will go to one more type of class. I will write it. Help of what is this now? List. List class also superclass is what? Object. Even if I define my own class also, class student I am saying, just like a pass. You say help of what? Student. You say student here. For my class also, super class is available called what? Build object. Belongs to which module? Built-ins module. So for every class, who is a super class? Help of object. Object does not contain a superclass because that is only the superclass. That is only the superclass. Student, class object. There was no superclass. Nothing is written in the bracket. From this place, what is coming? What is coming? Garbage collector concept was coming. That is nothing but base class for the total class hierarchies. So, this is the very, very important concept. What I am trying to say is all these kind of objects are int class object, float class object, any class objects are coming. That class objects are collected by garbage collector automatically by executing its destructor, which is inherited from top class called object class. So coming to this now, here I'm going to write it. There is one module. What is our concept now? Whether the GC running or not, there is one module is there called import GC. GC is the module. There I'm going to write it. Print off. Online students, print off. Here I'm writing is GC initially. Here I'm writing initially is GC running is GC running. I will write it, comma. There is a function name called is enabled. What is the function name? Is enabled. GC dot is enabled. Is enabled will give you what? Two things, true or false. It is, I said by default, it is running. Running means it is enabled or disabled. Running and enabled or disabled. Student is interacting with me. Interacted students are called what? Enabled student. Only sitting in the class and not talking to me, they are called what? Disabled students. వాళ్ళు ఉన్నా ఒకటే లేకపోయినా ఒకటే. Counting purpose it is there, but not actual activity purpose. So this is called what? The active students who are called what? Enabled. Is it enabled or not enabled? This indicates true. True indicates that indirectly GC is running behind of every program. My program name is called GC example1.py. Behind this program, garbage collector is also running. So it is going to print what value? True is printed. That indicates that GC is running internally. Execute this now. Go to this place. Enter into this place. Py GC is running. Initially is GC running? True. True. Now I'm going to write it in this place only. Immediately I'm going to do. I want to stop the GC running. Garbage collector, I want to stop running. There is a function name called GC in this module only. GC dot what? Disable. GC dot disable. Once if I disable, what will happen? Is it running or not running? Not running. Here I'm going to write it. Here I'm going to write it. Now is GC running? Now is GC running after disable? After disable. After disable. What is the answer is coming? False. False. Execute it. It is going to give you what? False. Now I will do immediately what? GC dot. To enable it again, to make it to run again, I will write what? GC dot enable. Three functions is enabled, disable, enable. Enable means again making it active or not. So I'm going to write it. I'm going to write it. In this case, what is this now? Is GC running after which function? After which function? Enable. What is the answer is printing? True. Once again, true. Execute this now. See, beginning it is true. It is concluded that GC is running. After disable, it is not running. False. Again after enable, it is running. So you are making it to run like a your media player. Want to play, you will click. Otherwise, you will be saying pause means you will disable it. So you are understanding how to enable, how to disable, you are going to get it. Now my conclusion is very, very powerful. Come to this place now. Here I am going to get it. GC example 4.py. Three objects are created. Three objects. Go to this example. This example you memory space example you go. Students. Very, very important example now. Final example. Now I'm going to take up here. This is a very importantly asking question in interview. Once they are going for most important examples in interview on GC, this question will be coming compulsory to you. Now I'm going to write it as it is. Now I'm going to write it. Program execution started. Now I'm going to write initially GC running or not. What is the GC running or not? What is an answer? True. One. True. After that, now I'm going to write it. Now I'm going to write it. GC dot GC dot what I'm saying? Disable. GC dot what? Disable. GC dot disable. GC dot disable means is it running or not running? Come on. Not running. This is after disable. What is the answer is coming? False. This is called false. This is called false. It is coming. Now I'm going to do what? This is called false. Now tell me, students, once if I disable GC running or not running? Not running. Program execution is ended. The moment when program execution is ended, GC is in which state? Which state? Huh? Modo? Disabled state. Which state? Now the program execution ended. After 6 seconds of time, after 5 seconds of time, GC has to execute this memory space destruction or not? But the GC is in which state? Which state? Disabled state. But the memory program execution is ended. It is supposed to remove the memory space or not? Yes. But it is in which state? Now my question is, when I disabled my garbage collector, will the memory space destroyed or not? That is my question. Did you understand my question? When I disable it, when the program execution ended, is my GC calls the destructor or not? That is the question mark. Come on. Yes or no? First of all, you got my question now? Now answer it. Will it execute or not? Online students, yes or no? Quickly. Come on. No. So we need to enable. Then only it is collecting the memory space. That is what you think. But it is wrong answer. What you are thinking is wrong answer. Now the conclusion is in real time standards in Python 3.10 version onwards, even though you disabled by mistake, suppose if you disable it, suppose there is a big project I am developing. If you disable it, what the Python software will stop? GC running stopped. When my program execution is there, lot of big project, lot of objects are there. My main memory becomes full or not? Because everybody is getting the memory space from the RAM. If my memory space I am not releasing, not cleaning up, my main memory space will become full or not? And it will become what? Hang. There is no memory space at all to run my program. My project will become what? Hang. It cannot run the project. That time, if you don't enable it, that is the problem is taking place. From 3.10 version onwards, what they did, even though you disable by mistake or knowing or unknowing, when the program execution is getting ended, your PVM and underlying OS will enable the GC automatically. Will enable the GC automatically. Even though you disable, when the program execution is ended, the PVM and underlying OS will enable the GC automatically. That means GC is not under the control of what? Programmer. GC is not under the control of programmer. GC is under the control of what? PVM and OS. It is not under the control of programmer. That's why even if you disable it, there is no problem because it is not under your control. It is under the control of what? PVM. And then what? Underlying OS. Did you catch that point? So I disabled it. What is the answer is coming? False. But still, this memory space getting removed. See the answer now. I'm going to save this example. This is a very, very important question. If you take any normal student outside, is this entire concept knows? Impossible. So see that now. GC. Import this GC now. Import GC now. See the answers now. Come out of that. See now. 144 false. Disable false. After 5 seconds, automatically called or not? Though I was made it disable, it is automatically getting because GC is not under the control of yours. GC is automatically running behind of every program. Did you understand? Now I will show you the concept. Online students, is it clear, ma? Is it clear for that entire concept what I explained today? The overall together is, what is my final conclusion? Is it necessary to write the destructor? Cheppane Mudhu. No need to write, but having the knowledge on destructor like this is very, very important. So try to run this now. Start working on this. Read out inbuilt program, which is running behind of every Python program, whose role is to collect unused memory space and improves the performance of Python based application. Every garbage collector is internally calling its own destructor function. The destructor function name by default, destructor always called by garbage collector when the program execution completed for deallocating the memory space of object which are used in that program, whereas constructor called by PVM implicitly during the program creation for initializing the object. What destructor will do, what constructor will do, I said both of them. Next, when the program execution completed, GC calls its own destructor to deallocate the memory space of object present in the program, and it is called what? Garbage automatic garbage collection. Hence, we have three programming conditions for calling GC to make the garbage collector to call destructor function. Number one, A by default or automatically GC call destructor when the program execution completed, called automatic garbage collection. Second, make the object reference as none by calling forceful garbage collection, called forceful garbage collection. Deleting the object by using del operator for calling forceful garbage collection, called forceful garbage collection. Syntax del object name. Syntax del underscore underscore name of self. I am going to conclude my sentence. Will you write destructor in your real time projects? Never. So, no need to write what? Destructor in a class of Python because GC contains its own destructor. But having the knowledge about destructor is so important. Understand? Right. So, garbage collector module called GC. There is no significance of this module in the Python program. Why? GC is not under your control. It is the control of what? PVM and OS. ఓన్లీ PVM కాదు, అది మిగతాది కూడా ఉంది కదా. ఇదన్నీ గల్లీ వర్డ్స్. ఇట్ ఈస్ అండర్ ద కంట్రోల్ ఆఫ్ PVM అండ్ అండర్లయింగ్ OS. అట్లాంటి మంచి టిపికల్ వర్డ్స్ గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాలి. యూ వాంట్ టు రిమెంబర్ PVM, వాట్ ఈస్ దట్? సో GC contains the following functions: is enabled, enable, disable. So GC is not under the control of programmer, but it is always maintained and managed by OS and PVM. Python programmer need not to write a destructor method or function and need not to deal with garbage collection process by using GC module because OS, PVM and OS takes care about automatic garbage collection process by automatic enabling of GC. That is the total concept about GC. Beginning day, what I said, garbage collector definition. Now today you link with that complete practical knowledge is there about garbage collector. What is GC? Garbage collector. Muthu? Garbage, what is GC? I said this total information. You have to tell what is garbage collector will do. Garbage collector internally calls the destructor, and destructor how it works. I shown you so many examples, so many programs. Memory space destruction, memory space subtraction, total accounting I shown 144, 96, 48, 0. Total example I shown you how garbage collector runs. Enable, disable, everything I shown you. This is called the complete knowledge about destructor and garbage collector. Understand? So I will stop my class and tomorrow class I will go for online students. I hope you understood. I will go to tomorrow class about data abstraction data encapsulation concept I will explain. Don't miss that. It is a very easy. Still it is related to which concept? Class related concept only. And object concept also today I will upload. What is an object will do? Why do you go for an object? To store the data. To create an object, what is required? Class. Without class, we cannot create. If I create an object without class, what will happen? Name error will come. Already you have seen name error. So objects are used for storing the data. So to do any data processing compulsory, what is required? Object is required. What is the definition of object? Your college definition. Instance of a class is called object. What is an instance? Allocating the memory space for data members and methods. That is a new word I am adding to that. What is an instance? Allocating the memory space for data members and methods is called object. Class first time, object first time? Class. So what happens during an object creation? What happens during an object creation? Memory space will be created and constructor will call. Which constructor? Maybe default, maybe parameterized. I'll show you that one also. Small example I will show you. Here, if we go to this place, object, very small example, very small concept, because every day we are dealing with that. So here you see, already learned. When we define a class, memory space not created for data members and methods. Whose memory space created when we create? Object with respect to class name. The purpose of creating an object is to store the data. To do any data processing, it is mandatory to create object. To create an object, there must exist a class definition. Otherwise, we get name error. Definition of an object. Instance of a class is called object. Same. Instance is nothing but allocating memory space for data members and methods. How do you measure the memory space? By using mobile చూస్తున్నాడు నువ్వు లేవు సరే అనువే ఎస్ యు ఆర్ వాచింగ్ మొబైల్ ఆర్ వాట్ కరెక్ట్ ఏముంది అందులో ఎందుకు టైం వేస్ట్ చేసుకుంటావు ఆల్రెడీ 30 సంవత్సరాలు వచ్చినాయి ఎందుకు టైం వేస్ట్ చేసుకుంటాం ఎందుకు ఏం చేద్దామని చెప్పు ఎందుకు ఏం చేద్దామని వాట్ ఈస్ ఇన్స్టెన్స్ మరి ఎందుకు వచ్చావు ఈరోజు క్లాస్కి నువ్వే చదువుకుంటున్నా ఎవరైనా చదివిస్తున్నారా నువ్వేనా చదువుకునేది వాళ్ళు ఎందుకు చేస్తావు అవి ఏమైనా షాప్ పెట్టావా మొబైల్ షాప్ ఏమైనా బిజినెస్ ఉందా మరి చదువుకోవడానికే కదా వచ్చింది మరి చదువుకోవచ్చు కదా ఏం చూస్తున్నావు మొబైల్లో నాకు వినిపించలే ఏం చూస్తున్నావు అడ్వర్టైజ్మెంట్సా యూట్యూబా గూగులా ఉత్తగా సెల్ ఫోన్ చూసుకుంటున్నావు ఫోన్ వచ్చిందా ఫోన్ వచ్చిందా కాల్ కేమ్ ఇంపార్టెంటా వెళ్ళు మరి బయటికి వెళ్ళు తీసుకొని మాట్లాడుకో ఆపు ఏమైనా యుద్ధాలు జరుగుతున్నాయి అనుకో ట్రంప్ పుతిన్ ఉక్రెయిన్ ఏమైనా జరిగింది ఆపు మేము కూడా నీకు సెల్యూట్ చేస్తాం ఎందుక కూర్చో ఇంత ఇప్పుడు కూడా మీకు రాలేదంటే ఏం చేయాలి అసలు అంత ఏజ్ వచ్చింది ఇంకా మీరు అట్లే ఉన్నారంటే ఏం చెప్పాలి చెప్పు వాళ్ళ చూడడానికి మంచిగా కనిపిస్తావు నువ్వు చేసే యాక్టివిటీస్ అన్ని బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్ యాక్టివిటీస్ ఒక్కడన్నా పనికొచ్చే పని చేస్తావా నువ్వు చేసే నాకేం లేదు నువ్వే పోతావు రేపు ఏ బ్లింకిటో ఊబరో ఏదో తీసుకోవాలి రేపు సో ఆల్రెడీ కాలేజీలో ఏం రాదు బీటెకా ఏం రాదు ఏమన్నా వచ్చా ఏం రాదు ఈడ కూడా అట్లే చేసుకుంటే ఎట్లా ఏం చేద్దామని ఏం చేద్దాం అనుకుంటున్నావు ఇప్పుడు నువ్వు కోర్స్ అయిపోతుంది ఏం చేద్దాం అనుకుంటున్నావు జాబా ఏం జాబ్ జాబ్ చేస్తావు నువ్వు ఏం జాబ్ చేస్తావు ఏం జాబ్ ఏ ఊరు ఉంది ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ తెలంగాణ ఏపీ ఇక్కడే లోకల్ కర్ణాటక ఆ, ఏం చెప్పాలా నీకు డూ నో కన్నడ తమిళ్ తెలుగు ఇంగ్లీష్ ఇంగ్లీష్ రాదు నీకు సో It's my time waste. Come to the point. So next, how do you create an object? Actually, some faculties will not bother about it. You see your HTML faculties. All faculties you see. What you are doing in backside, they don't bother. They'll complete it. But my heart, I don't know why that weakness for me. If anybody is watching mobile, I'm just waiting for that guy to stand up. I don't know what is my weakness. Even I also want to leave them most of the time, but I don't know why that weakness is. So coming to, let it go to somewhere I don't want to bother. So variable name is equal to what? Class name of. ప్రాజెక్ట్ చేసావను చేయలే నువ్వు మొబైల్ టైం చేయడానికి సరిపోతుంది. ఓ మొబైల్ షాప్ పెట్టి ఇక్కడ స్థలం ఇప్పిస్తా నేను. పెడతావా? మరి ఏమైనా బిజినెస్ పెడతావా? పెట్టేదో ఒకటి. ఇక్కడ నేను స్థలం ఇప్పిస్తా నీకు, ఒకటి ఏర్పాటు చేస్తా నీకు. కంపల్సరీగా ఒకటి పెట్టిస్తా. చేస్తావా? నాకు కూడా ఒక షేర్ 10% నేను ఇన్వెస్ట్ చేస్తాను ఈ ద్వారా. చేస్తావా? చేయవా? ఏం చేస్తావు మరి? ఎందుకైనా వేరియబుల్ నేమ్ ఇది కూడా వాట్? క్లాస్ నేమ్ ఆఫ్, ఆర్ వేరియబుల్ నేమ్ ఇది కూడా క్లాస్ నేమ్ ఆఫ్ వాల్యూ 1, వాల్యూ 2, వాల్యూ n. వాట్ ఇస్ దిస్ వన్? Default constructor. This is called parameterized constructor. Create an object of student. SO is equal to student of. What is this? Object creation calls the default constructor. Object created employee calls which constructor? Parameterized constructor. Differences between class and object. Very regularly asking FAQ. Academic question. What is the class? Already explained. A class is a collection of data, members, methods. Object. Instance of a class is called object. When we define a class, memory space is not created for data, members, methods. And it can be treated as specification or model for a real-time application. Specification means what? Like a house plan. I said one shut example also. Shut example, buttons, so apple cut. That is called what? Specification. Will you wear that specification? No. I have to definitely create what? When we create an object with respect to the class, we get the memory space for data, members, and methods. So once there is a class, compulsory what to create? Object, so that I can get it into implementation. Definition of a particular class exists only once. Employee class one time. E1, E2, E3, how many times I will create? 3 times I will create, 4 times I can create, n number of times I can create. With respect to one class definition, we can create multiple objects. Definition of a particular class will exist only once. With respect to one class definition, we can create multiple objects. Next, when we develop any program with OOPS principle, class definition loaded first in main memory, how many times? Only once. So once if I define the class, that will be existing in main memory only once only. Here, we can create an object after loading the class definition. Otherwise, we get what? So you have seen class, first class, later main program, object. Without class definition, if I create an object, which error will come? Name error will come. That is what the differences between class and object. Syntax for object, from the day one of OOPS, I am going to create objects. So this is about object creation. Tomorrow I am talking about security to the object. I am going to tell security to the object. Security. For example, స్కూల్లో ప్రోగ్రెస్ కార్డ్ ఇచ్చారు ఆయనకి, మన స్టూడెంట్కి ప్రోగ్రెస్ కార్డ్ ఈస్ గివెన్. 0 marks is coming in all subjects. Will you tell in home? So you are hiding the data. Hiding the data. Suppose you are there, all of you. Will you tell everything to your parents? No. అసలు చెప్పవు, నువ్వైతే చెప్పవు అసలు. You will not tell. That is called, what are you doing? Hiding. So you learn OOPS before your birth only. So tomorrow I will tell, time is almost over. We'll stop my class. And tomorrow class I will go for data encapsulation and abstraction. I will explain. First 1 hour 20-25 minutes. Next I will give the introduction to inheritance also. Don't miss it. Thank you. Carry on. చదువుగా నువ్వు ఆ మొబైల్ షాప్ చూసుకొని మొబైల్ షాప్ పెట్టకు నువ్వు. రైట్. థ్యాంక్ యూ. క్యారీ ఆన్.